morning. My name's Morgan, and I am a Pamplin alum. I graduated in 2011. I graduated with a marketing and global business degree, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys today. I was asked to pre-record this video, and I figured it would be somewhat of a different view to give you guys kind of a step-by-step look into my day-to-day musings at Vice Media. But I figured it would be realistic to start here because this is where most of my mornings start, at that little table. So I get up usually, shower, have my coffee, watch some Today Show, catch up on my news, look at my emails, and then at around 8:30, it's 8:45 now, so I'm running a little late, but I usually jump into a cab, a ride share called Via, and that takes me over to my company called Vice Media over in Brooklyn. So again, looking forward to talking to you guys today. I hope this is beneficial. It's kind of a different view, but it's gonna be fun. Happy Monday. Hi guys, I am reporting from Vice. I'm going to now meet with a couple of my coworkers just to go over a few things that they've experienced in the work world in their career up to this point.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a senior media strategist at Vice.
And I'm Christina, and I'm the operations program manager at Vice.
Question number 2. How do you empower other women, and why do you think it's important?
So I would say that I empower other women kind of starting at the earliest age. So I try to be really involved in like college communities and like talking to a lot of girls who are still in college, what opportunities are available for them outside of college, and kind of giving them those guiding steps on how to get there and how I went through it, and just giving them those learnings, but also just being a sounding board for the girls in the workplace, and kind of listening to them and providing them with the ammo they need to like feel empowered at Vice.
Great. Christina?
Yeah, I mean, going off of what Michelle said, I think it is really important to empower women by kind of being a soundboard and just helping guide them through their career path. I think it gets lost in the day-to-day when you are competitive with one another and you're all trying to get promoted and do the best that you can, but when you have a support system, and especially with females, it becomes a lot easier to achieve the goal that you want when you have people supporting you.
Hi again. So now we are in the sort of meat and potatoes of this video. I want to go over a few of your questions, give you a little background on, my career, how I got here. I know I have talked to a lot of you guys, if not, had you come in shadow, talked to you over email, talked to you on the phone, talked to you guys through Skype at some different meetings. So I hope this isn't redundant. But for any new people in the room, this is such an honor to be able to talk to you guys, and I'm so proud of you, and as I say it every time, but I feel really, really lucky to be a part of the organization, and I think this is something that I so wish I had when I was at Virginia Tech. It's such a resource, and use it to your advantage. Women empowering women and professors supporting you along the way is everything. So here we go. Question number 1. What was your major and what made you want to study in that field? So as I said, I was a marketing management major, got a global business degree by going to Switzerland abroad. Basically, I knew I wanted to be in advertising. I didn't know what form. I originally knew that I thought I wanted to be a copywriter. So I really liked to write. I loved reading, but I really liked to write, and I liked how ads sort of blended that writing, but with also like the design of the actual ad and how that communicated to the consumer, and being quirky and quippy, and that was something that really excited me. So marketing it was, and I applied early and never really looked back, which is unusual, I think. Question 2. What did you do during college to help you get to where you are now? So I was not as involved as I probably should have been, to be quite honest. I was in a sorority. It was an Alpha Phi. I did a lot with Relay for Life. I participated in all of the different forms of business horizons. I actually ended up getting my first job out of school at Snag a Job through business horizons. And I was always the kid that was like very, loved to procrastinate, wasn't thrilled with the prospect of putting on a blazer and walking around and shaking hands and sort of doing the schmoozing with the companies. That just has never been natural for me. But lo and behold, I did actually end up really connecting with one of the recruiters there and, got the process rolling. Would I have ever thought that one random day would have led to my job offer? Not in a million years. But it from there, I got a phone interview, and then from that, I got another phone interview, and then they asked me to come into the office and interview in Richmond, and that's how I ended up getting the job offer. I ended up getting an offer to live in Richmond at Snag a Job. I guess it was like I think it was like right before spring break, my senior year. So I'm now going to talk about my current job. I know you guys have heard me talk about my career path up to this point. So I started at Snag a Job, knew I wanted to move to New York, didn't really know how to do it. You guys have heard me speak. I sort of just took a leap. I had a friend that had an apartment. She had a room. She always knew I wanted to move to New York. She said, okay, if you want, the room's yours. And I said, okay, I have to find a job, quit my job, figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to deal with all my furniture and everything else, basically pick up my life and move to New York. But I thought that you really can't pass up an opportunity like that. It had been a dream of mine for a long time. So came up and actually lived on, some savings, some different money that I had saved up for the first month, which was not pleasant, but I scraped by, and I ferociously went on job interviews and pretty much emailed and stalked and LinkedIn and everybody that I had ever spoken to, both at Virginia Tech and, any connection I had in New York City, pre and post college. Ended up getting a job at NBC. That's somewhat how I started into my advertising career, as a sales assistant there, and basically supported the sales teams there. And then, from there, I knew that advertising was definitely where I wanted to be. It certainly wasn't the creative side, but I really liked the sales process. I liked talking to the different advertisers and making sure that the commercials were running correctly. On NBC News was actually the vertical that I was on. And then at that point, I was, frustrated that I wasn't getting promoted. I'm a millennial at heart. I don't like to wait for opportunities. I want to seek them out. So I started, again, doing the networking, going to Hokies on Wall Street, talking to people at, Virginia Tech games that they have at the bar where we would all watch the football games, and ended up connecting with Steve White, who used to be the head of the Alumni Association in New York. So, and it, again, used my connections as much as I could and sent in my resume, said I'm really interested at this role at ESPN. Are you able to push it through? And then at that point, he actually connected me with a girl on the team I was applying to. She was also a Virginia Tech alumni. And, one thing led to another. I went and I interviewed, and obviously we had a lot to talk about. It worked. It was a good connection. And I got an analyst role at ESPN. So still in ad sales, but somewhat taking on the back end side of it, going in and looking at our traffic and our data and looking at our consumer behavior across all of the different platforms and apps and, Roku and Apple TV, and sort of predicting the trends there and working with our sales teams as to what they should be selling, which inventory, which ads should be placed where. And then, of course, after about 2.5 years after that, I got hungry again. I like a challenge. Again, I tried to move around at ESPN. Wasn't happening as fast as I wanted. They're just old companies. To be quite honest, if the opportunities aren't there, they're not necessarily willing to make it for you. And a lot of times that just means turnover. That means people leave. You have to seek out your own opportunities. So again, went through the process. It took me a really long time. I would say I was actively looking for about a year, interviewing with all these different companies, from tiny little startups to different publishers, to like dream jobs at Glossier, the company that produces like really great makeup. I interviewed across a lot and had a lot of rejection. I think my job is very niche. An analyst work was very niche. It's very there's just not a lot of people doing it, and there's not a lot of I wanted to be maybe more creative, thought about going that route, getting back to that route, and I found that it was really hard to go backwards. And a creative person hiring a data person, there's a big disconnect there. So I figured, okay, not going to go that route. So it just took me a little longer. Ended up actually getting recruited through LinkedIn. So all that LinkedIn messaging, it does pay off sometimes. A recruiter from Vice reached out, said, we have this new position. We've never had it before. It's brand new. We'd love to just, talk to you on the phone if you're available. I said, absolutely. Really didn't, again, I never really think jobs are going to come through, but when you least expect them, they end up happening. I went through the process, went through the phone interview process, came in, had my interview at a picnic table outside, and here I am 4 months into my new job. And currently I am a manager of revenue operations in our yield team. Yeah, so at Vice, it's been 110-degree difference from ESPN. I am exponentially more challenged, I think. This role is a whole different pace of business. I would say Vice is very much a large startup. So it's not a startup because we have thousands of employees at this point internationally, but it runs and operates like a startup, where there's no process, there's no rules, there's no, you go through these motions to talk to these people. It was very much like, here you literally come in and you say, okay, you hit the ground running. I mean, I had a report that I had to get out the very first day I started. So there's no mercy. But for me, that's been really wonderful, because it's forced me to, have confidence in myself, and forced me to really speak up and find my voice. And I have a highly visible role where I'm talking to, the VPs. I'm recommending real business strategy for our, sales organization for Vice, which is, I feel the pressure. I feel the weight on my shoulders. There's a lot of people looking at the numbers that I'm pumping out and looking at my reports and expect me to be the expert in my field. And that's intimidating when you have, 4 male VPs in a room and looking at you to, guide the conversation of what to do next, and how are we going to sell, and how are we going to package the ads, and why did we hit our numbers, and why did we not hit our numbers, and so on and so forth. But, it's forced me to find a really nice balance, I think, is the biggest thing for me. It's finding that balance between being respected for your work, being, people know that you are a hard worker, and they know that your work is going to be consistent and accurate and on time and trusted, but at the same time being, somebody that people want to collaborate with. You want to be approachable. I always, want to be the person that, maybe the younger employee might come up to and ask for help. I want to be approached from management that, hey, we need somebody to train this new hire. I like doing that. That's something I really find, fun when they first come on, and they're so, I don't want to say naive, but just excited to be there. It's that finding that assertive and collaborative balance that I've really had to work on. Next question. How are you empowered in the workplace and or in general? I'm empowered by so many things. I'm empowered by sitting at the table, having a real seat, being able to not be held back by my age, I'm still relatively young, and my gender. I think I'm empowered by learning as much as I can and soaking up. I think it's easy as a young person to think you know it all and you've been through it all and you're smarter than the older person, and you know computers better than the older person, but I think taking a step back and really knowing that you're going to put the work in now, you know, and doing what you have to do now so you can do what you really want to be doing down the road. That's empowering to me. And just positive think. I know it's cliche, but I really think the more positive you are about your goals and, you know, that spreading that positivity around, you know, with the people that you work with, that to me is really infectious, and it's really empowering when you're around just a lot of smart, motivated, positive, energetic, excited people. That's empowering. Question number 6. How do you empower other women, and why do you think it's important? Oh, I could go on and on. Obviously, I'm speaking to you guys. I think it's so important to have a voice, and if you think people are great, tell them. I like being a champion for achievements. You know, I have girls on my team. They want a promotion. I'm like, you speak up, you ask. You can just be told no, and then you're back in the same spot. So I empower them to, you know, push for what they want, and especially at a company like Vice where it is so fast and everybody's kind of, to be honest, looking out for themselves. You have to speak up and be your biggest advocate. So I push people for that. I also think, like I've said before, I want to be a sounding board. I always try to be, you know, we don't have offices, open desk policy. You can always come and sit with me and tell me what your issue is. And I like to think that I can provide good advice, but at the same time, sometimes you just need somebody to listen and you need to vent. And I think that being a listener and really hearing what people have to say is important. Okay, last question. If you could go back and tell yourself one thing to do differently in college, what would it be? To be honest, I would tell myself to relax. You know, do your hard work, study your butts off, do everything you can to set yourself up for success, but at the same time have confidence that you are coming from a really great school with, you know, giving you all the resources to succeed. At the same time, you're listening to me speak to you. You're obviously doing something right if you're in this meeting. I think you guys do an excellent job of balancing your time between, you know, what you want to be doing and what you have to do. And I think Virginia Tech especially is so wonderful in that aspect, that I think we have really well-rounded students. We have brilliant minds, but at the same time, I think, you know, also students are really super involved with intramural sports or sororities or fraternities or, you know, different clubs, different activities, you know, on campus. I think that is just important to have that balance. And also I think I would tell myself to, you know, be confident. Confidence is something that needs to be practiced, and you're not going to be good at it until you practice it. So, you know, have faith that you will find a job. Be confident in your classes that you are. You may not be the smartest one in the class, but you're doing the work and you're meant to be there. And again, just relax. It all somewhat works out. Trust in your education. Trust in the tools that you've been given. And I don't want to be cliche, but I really think it works out how it should. Hi again. We are on the roof at Vice, so it's freezing, but this is where, I'll give you a little snapshot, where we hang out, where we have chairs. You can come hang out here when it's beautiful and sunny, and then we're right on the water. So I'm going to give you sort of a panoramic view. So as you can see, that's the East River. There is the Williamsburg Bridge. And there's our office. So it's a big warehouse right on the water in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. So if you come over here, we have our little garden and our little pathway. We have like little picnic tables there. And this is our little outdoor area. So you can see we have tables where we can hang out, tables we can hang out over there, and then it's somewhat like a big warehouse where they have garage doors that open up, so when it's nice they open the doors and you get to enjoy all of the nice weather. Alright, check it out.